Alright, from thumbnails to comic book page, here's the sketch thumbnails I did. I hadn't drawn in a while since I made these thumbnails, so I kind of jumped back after some time off, and here I am working on tightening up the original pencil roughs. In this particular page, I am going over the original pencil rough as I stated, but then putting in a little more detail on the line work for the figure as I sketch it out. I forgot what the character's costume looked like to a certain degree, so I had to reference the page off my website, one of the pages from the webcomic. So once I got that, I started, go back to penciling, putting in the finer details of the costume. She's got like these armbands and these forearm bands, and then kind of like the little sash that wraps around her neck and kind of swashes around as part of her costume. So and then when it comes to drawing the hair, I'm thinking of kind of like mass in general, and then trying to figure out the lighting. So as I move into the details of getting the head, her head drawn, like I said, I hadn't drawn in a while. I'd been gone for about 2 or 3 weeks, and then we got back and, hadn't drawn for another 2 or 3 more weeks after that. So I was gone for a while, so I had the head roughed in and kind of sketched in, but now I'm trying to figure out the angle from this particular perspective of how to get the head and the mouth and the eyes and the nose and the right orientation, proportions and all that stuff. And I just remember really struggling trying to eyeball it, as they say. Now I did come up with a reference before I even started the thumbnails. I lost that reference. I'm not sure where it went. Again, this is before I took some time off, and then getting back to this, I said, oh, I'll just I'll just wing it, and so here I'm having trouble trying to redraw the face, and more actually the head in this particular pose. Drawing heads in perspective, some angles are easier than others. And with this particular shot, the character Kasia here, her head is angled back. Her whole body actually is angled back because she's kind of getting... the character, which we'll see a little bit later in the video, the hand that you're going to see in this panel is kind of shooting some kind of, or casting some kind of, not a spell, but kind of transforming her. That's all I'll say at this point. And so I'm still, getting back to the drawing here, I'm still struggling. I'm like, damn, this is hard. I'm like, no matter what I do, I can't really fake this. So if I was working digitally, probably would have been easier to, sketch real quick and then, just simply undo it. But working with pencil on paper, it is a little bit more time consuming. You got to think a little bit more before you put that stroke down. It's so much easier to do an undo or hit the back arrow in a program, a drawing program. In this case, no, if you screw up like here, you got to erase the whole thing, or you've got to erase parts of it. Wipe away the little bit of the eraser shavings or whatever that is, when you erase on paper. And here I'm thinking like, this just isn't working out. And I'm like, screw this. I'm like, am I gonna have to redraw or totally erase the head here? Because that mouth is really tricky, and the way it lines up as far as the perspective, again, with the nose, trying to do it was tough. And I said, I'm working, I want to be a little bit faster, I want to be more spontaneous. And I think what I've discovered, and I've kind of known this, is that certain poses I can do that. Maybe other people are better at drawing this head from this angle. They probably are. But this is a tough one. It's not a head-on shot, straightforward. It's not a straight-up profile. It's at a certain angle in this pose here, in this panel. And then, I'm working and I finally decide, yeah, you know what, I need to start over on this here. So what I ended up doing was, obviously I erased most of it. I gave it another try here. I'm like, okay, what am I doing here? So as it turned out, I actually did find the original reference I had. And then once I found that, I started to rock and roll. So I'm picking up the speed here in the video, and then I'm going to show the reference that I had. So here's the actual reference for the figure. So this came out of the Pose app I think it's called Pose Pro. I'll put a link in the description here. But it's really handy to tilt the figure, move the arms and limbs, and also the head. So that's what I'm using here, the head, as I'm drawing here this phase, this part of the video. I'm not using that reference as a guide. And once I have the reference and once I'm able to rotate it, you know, then I'm going to turn my artboard to the side, because it's going to be somewhat easier for me to draw these features on the face this way. And once I got that reference nailed down and I found it, then things started flowing so much more easily. And so you can see here the face is pretty much done as far as like pencils. Now I'm just drawing in some little details here, adding a little bit more detail and body to her hair. And at this point, like just rocking and rolling with this here, just going in with a pencil, trying to be a little more artistic. I think like originally this panel was not going to have a broken border, but I think drawing the hair, I think I am going to have at least the side panels, the side borders of this panel spread up or spread out left to right. So I think that's what I'm going to do. So here I am, I'm just penciling the rest of the body here, adding a little bit of shadow, trying to add some form underneath what is basically the figure. And then from here, you know, I'm tightening up certain things, and I get ready to draw the just giant hand in the background here. And again, the idea as far as the story is the character is imbuing her with some kind of it's not really imbuing her with something, I don't want to say too much, but essentially he's doing something, creating an action, doing an action that creates a reaction on her part. And so here's the giant hand that I'm drawing here. I take it back, this is actually not, no, it is add-on, it's the character add-on. So yeah, so here I am. What I did in this case here with the hand is I roughed in what was essentially just kind of my own way of eyeballing it. That's what I did with the thumbnails, and that's what I did with the rough. But here you can see on my iPad I actually took a photo of my own hand, and that's me right there on the iPad using my own hand as a reference. So I'm going to use that photo that I took with my iPhone and airdrop to my iPad, and I'll just use that as the basis for the reference for this hand that I'm drawing here. And I've always enjoyed drawing hands, to be quite honest. I know I've heard more than one occasion, you know, some people, they hate drawing hands or feet. I love drawing that stuff. I think I've mentioned that before. But for me, you know, if I've got reference, it's easy. And right now, my biggest challenge is trying to not rely too much on reference. But then when I do use reference, try to not have it look too stiff. So in the inking phase, which I really enjoy, I'm hoping to get a lot of this to look a little more lively and a little more animated. So, and here's the final picture here, at least at this penciling stage. And more to come. I will definitely get this inked, and I will record that process as well, and then we can see how that turns out. So for right now, thanks for watching this video. Catch you in the next one. Don't forget to like, subscribe, leave a comment if you'd like to. See you next time.